12 News Eye on Agriculture with Britton Rucker.
People in Wichita have cut back on their water usage. Tonight, a look at how much we've saved since water restrictions took effect. Plus, the Minnesota State Fair is underway without a popular attraction. How the bird flu is impacting state fairs across the country. And Democrats outline plans for ag emissions in their 2024 agenda. Hear what this could mean for farmers. Good evening and welcome to Eye on Agriculture. I'm Keith Gray in this week for Britton Rucker. We're following the latest on drought conditions here in Kansas as the city of Wichita shares an update on water usage for the first time since mandatory water restrictions went into effect earlier this month. The city's plan was to cut usage by 10%, and now the city reports water use went down 16% in the first week of restrictions, and it dropped 34% during the second week. So far, the city's issued 165 warnings, but no fines, as it is something the city hopes to avoid.
This is about education over enforcement, and we want people to really find ways to do their part to continue to conserve and cut back on water use while we're in this drought and even into the future.
While the Public Works says the cuts are helping drought conditions, people should continue conserving as mandatory restrictions are still in effect. Cheney Lake remains more than 7 feet below normal. That's around 60% full, but there's also a focus on conservation in the Cheney Lake watershed. That was the topic of a roundtable discussion led by Kansas Senator Roger Marshall last Monday. Cheney Lake is one of 2 primary water sources for Wichita. The lake relies on a watershed area spread across more than 600,000 acres in 5 counties. Most of that land is agricultural, which has led to pushes for conservation measures like the USDA's Conservation Reserve Program, also known as CRP.
People are sort of taking some of that land out of CRP. We asked them, well, how come? And really, they can make more money growing wheat on it than they can leaving it in CRP. So what we thought we could do is add a grazing component to increase their income. So by allowing cattle to come in there and graze some of that grass that's been set aside.
Senator Marshall says these types of conservation pushes are being discussed as part of the latest farm bill. All right, now for the latest on drought conditions in Kansas, we turn to Storm Team 12 and meteorologist Adrian Campa. Adrian, what does the latest data show?
Well, Keith, thankfully over the last week or so, we've had some scattered showers. Out a little bit. We still have worsening drought, though, but that's prevented us from jumping to the extreme drought. We'll take any little wind that we can get, but here in south central Kansas, we have seen a jump to 10% severe. We still have a lot of work to do over the next several months and maybe even over a year, but looking ahead at the next couple of weeks, I do think September will likely start off on an active note. Keith?
All right, thank you, Adrian. In campaign 2024, Democrats are vowing to cut greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture as part of their 2024 platform. It was unveiled last Monday at the Democratic National Convention. They're calling for zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 with assistance from USDA Climate Initiative. It comes as congressional Republicans work to cut off funding for some climate initiatives in the latest farm bill. The Democratic platform also calls for providing a path to citizenship for undocumented farm workers. The ongoing bird flu outbreak impacting state fairs across the country. The Minnesota State Fair is now underway and some cattle will not be displayed. This year, the fair canceled its Miracle of Birth display, meaning birthing cows and newborn calves won't be on display. Lactating dairy cows will still be allowed at the fair, but only if they have proof of negative flu tests in the week before they arrived. The CDC suggests fair organizers nationwide take action as more than a dozen states, including Kansas, have reported cases of bird flu in cattle. The fair says it's not the first time they've been forced to take precautions.
We have had situations before. I think in 2015 there was an issue with avian influenza in the poultry barn. Again, I think there's always ways to, work with the recommendations of our Board of Animal Health, our Department of Health, and just make the best choices we can with the information we have.
Earlier this summer in Iowa, the fair canceled 2 popular attractions where fairgoers could milk dairy cows. The Kansas State Fair is closely watching the avian flu situation among poultry and cattle. Here's a look at precautions in place for this year's event. The fair is still hosting youth and open dairy cattle shows, but all lactating cows will be required to have a clear milk test within 7 days of the show. All out-of-state exhibitors are required to have a complete certificate of veterinary inspection, and there will also be some enhanced cleaning and sanitation in place at certain areas. All right, a new federal rule change could have big implications for volunteer fire departments in Kansas. Hear why they're opposing the move.